It's done.
Connor McDavid! It's not real!
The goal of the year, part of the past. The celebrations, forgotten. The history,
Vegas Golden Knights.
history. We're back to a blank slate. Clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs.
Eastern Conference Final begins Wednesday.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the 1865 match report. On a day when Forest made certain of their Premier League status by beating Burnley 2-1 at Turf Moor. We knew that Forest had pretty much wrapped it up before the final day, but this victory made mathematical certainty of survival, coupled with Luton's defeat at home to Fulham, which means that Forest, through beating already relegated Burnley, moved 6 points clear of the drop zone on the final day and made it reasonably comfortable in the end, even with the points deduction factored in. A party atmosphere at Turf Moor as the Forest fans celebrated survival on a hot sunny day. Tom Newton was there and he's joining me for this match report. First of all though, Tom, we'll get into the team news. It was one change for Forest, with Harry Toffolo coming in for Ala Aina. He wasn't involved at all, so we had that 4-2-3-1, which has been familiar to us under Nuno this season, with Sells in goal, a back four of Montiel, Bolly, Murillo and Toffolo. Yates and Danilo at the base of the midfield. In front of them, Alanga, Morgan Gibbs-White and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Chris Wood up top. I think that's to be expected, isn't it, Tom, that team news?
Yeah, I think Nuno just wanted to finish the season off on a positive, really. So just kept the tried and trusted side, what's basically been there or thereabouts in the last couple of weeks in terms of team selection. So, yeah, no real surprises from Nuno's final team selection of the season.
One big miss was Nico Dominguez, who's undergone surgery to repair an abdominal hernia, so he wasn't in the squad. Of course, Nico Williams didn't feature either. So a couple of players missing, but like you say, Tom, I think that settled team really was the way to go. And Forest made the perfect start in this game. Less than 2 minutes in, Anthony Alanga down the right-hand side, running at the Burnley defence, plays a great ball across. It goes to the back post and Chris Wood's there to steer it in. A brilliant start, and good to see Wood back on the score sheet as well.
Yeah, and he's been unlucky, hasn't he, in recent weeks? Since that miss against Spurs, he's probably thinking too much about the chances and passing quite a few of them up, especially a couple against Man City. So, yeah, it's bread and butter that wasn't it, for Chris Wood? Really good delivery from Alanga on the right-hand side and put it across the face of goal. And, yeah, Chris Wood, that's meat and drink for him, isn't it? And I think is he on 14 or 15 for a season? I think that's his highest Premier League goal return. So, good for him, because without him, he was all right for at the start of the season, and then that period when he come back against West Ham, but he's been missing for most parts of it. But yeah, Chris Wood's basically got us that up a hole this season with his valuable goals.
Mm-hmm. Played a big role and helped Forest to survival, definitely. So that was his 14th goal of the season. The 15th came not long after, and it was a Gibbs White run with the ball into the sort of the left-hand side of the Burnley penalty area. He picked out Yates coming in. His shot was then diverted into the back of the net by Chris Wood and wrong-footed Aro Muric in the Burnley goal. It went to a VAR check, but this one was given, and rightly so, because I think one of the Burnley fullbacks is playing Wood on side. And actually, in the end, it's a really good instinctive finish from Wood to steer it on target and into the corner away from the keeper.
Yeah, I mean, strikers are always on the toes, aren't they? 9 times out of 10 in those situations. And yeah, because the goal was at our end and the linesman put his flag up, but he was a bit hesitant whether to put his flag up. Then the flag did go up, and I think there was a bit of doubt in his mind. And then obviously it went to a VAR check. Then you look on the replays, and he's a good couple of yards on, isn't he? I can't remember who the right back was. It Odebear or one? I can't remember who the right back was, but he's like a couple of yards behind the line, kind of thing of the defensive line. And yeah, when you look back on it, he's miles on. There's no danger of that. Yeah, we thought it's one of those where you think he's onside, and you look at the linesman, and his reaction just told you everything. And I thought, as soon as this goes to VAR check, and it was turned over, kind of thing. So I think that we was deserving of that. And I don't want to come on here and be too critical of Burnley, but you can see why they're going down. I mean, the company's got them playing decent football in like the in front of their own area and everything, but as soon as they get into the final third, a bit clueless and play the wrong pass. There was a couple of balls what they just blasted out of play, kind of thing, because they're just trying to overplay it rather than have a shot. And yeah, they went on that like little rally, didn't they, a few weeks ago, but it's come too little too late for them. And yeah, they're going down with our friends from down the M1 and our other friends up the M1. So looking at those three sides, they've been pretty poor all season. Even I mean, you've just mentioned about we're safe and everything, 6 points clear the drop zone, 15 goal better off, and even with a point deduction, and Luton still finished off 6 points below us. So you think they're poor, then how poor must Derby have been in the 07-08 season when they went down with a record low? So, but first and foremost, we deserved, especially the first half, we deserved the 2 goals.
Yeah, and Forest came out positively, didn't they, in that first half, to come out as positively as they did and get those 2 early goals. I mean, we knew Forest were going to be okay today, really. It was going to be a ridiculous goal swing. Had things gone really badly wrong, and there was a swing that helped Luton to stay up. But getting those 2 early goals and a 2-0 lead would have calmed any sort of nerves or doubts right down, because from that point on, Forest had come into the game with a real confidence and they just looked like a team that wanted to get the job done today.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the wrong way, the right way, and the Forest way, isn't it? And it's usually the Forest way when it comes to we'll go back to Stoke in 2020. It was like all we needed was a not to lose by 4 goals or 3 goals, whatever it was, and Swansea go and do that to Reading. You're thinking, I know it was a more superior goal swing today, but Forest doing Forest things, it's usually the norm, isn't it? So, but yeah, thankfully, I mean, like last week was near enough there, wasn't we? But we just wanted to put the seal on things today. And Forest did start the game really well and wanted to get on the front foot, which they scored after 90 seconds. And I'm pretty sure that's got to be the quickest goal in Premier League history for us since its formation in 92. So I'll have to check on that. But yeah, it's a cracking start for us. And I just thought today was like one of those important games where it's the start of next season for us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't want to get even though we was near enough safe, you didn't want to get battered today. And then that obviously lingers into the summer, and the fans are going into summer break and a bit of confidence. And obviously, hopefully we'll get certain things sorted in certain areas. And we'll start our 3rd season in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, and I think the general consensus is that we're all just glad that this season's over and done with now, and Forest are still a Premier League club. And like you say, looking ahead to the next campaign really is all that it's about now.
Yeah, it's been an absolute car crash of a season, hasn't it? I mean, how many bloody 3-2s we've had this season and been on the wrong side of them. The VAR, which has been well documented all through the season, and you got Luton fans who become insufferable in terms of that because they're Little Luton and everything, they should expect something, a bit of sympathy voting and all of that. And like Nuno said on the radio with BBC Radio Nottingham post-match today, once they got the point deduction, it changed everything. Like, there's a bit of tension in the air, and like you're looking over your shoulder and thinking one false move here and we could be in the relegation zone. Can't remember if we was ever in the relegation zone. I can't, albeit a couple of weeks, if that, but
it might have been one game where I think we got a point and it got us back out of it, and then we were never back in it again after that point, and that was key.
So I mean, like last season we was like in the Premier League, and the media for like a couple of weeks were like saying, "Yeah, Forest are back, it's brilliant." And we signed Jesse Lingard, and everything changed, and the media narrative was against us. How dare you sign 30 signings? Yeah. And Lingard rocking up and this, that and the other, and we really do upset the apple cart. And then this season we've had obviously profit and sustainability sanctions and VAR controversy, and apart from this season's just been awful, hasn't it? I think if you're neutral watching the Premier League, it has not been a memorable season, has it? I mean, and with us being actually in the Premier League, it's just been, hasn't been a nice season. I mean, it was great over Christmas. We got that away win at Newcastle and Man United, but we dissect this season in a few weeks, possibly on the big pod and everything. But it's one of those seasons where I'm just glad we've got it out of the way with.
Yeah, and I think really it has been a slog, and a season where it's part been the novelty has worn off a little bit of being back in the Premier League, but like you say, all of those off-field things as well have just made it such a difficult campaign. Looking then at the last couple of chances in the first half, most of them went to Burnley. Amdouni had a couple of efforts, one which he put over from just inside the area, and another one which he drilled low and wide. But little signs there of the nice football that Burnley do like to play. But it was 2-0 to Forest at the break, and the Reds in a very good position going into the half-time interval. In the second half, no changes made by Nuno at the break, and the first big opportunity fell to Forest. It was Morgan Gibbs-White. He was about 25 yards out, left-hand side, and he bends one. Beauty of an effort, almost Callum Hudson-Odoi-esque, right for that top corner, and Muric gets across and saves well. And you look at Gibbs-White and just the way he's playing, and certainly over the course of the season, how important he's been as well to helping Forest stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think his game this season has gone to another level in terms of he's a bit more like box to box. I mean, like last year we played him obviously in the number 10 role, which he's played the majority of this season. But people have a go at Gibbs-White, but everything goes through him. And if you think about how many times the ball goes through him, sometimes some stuff comes off, sometimes it doesn't. Because he's having more of the ball, obviously, he might make more mistakes than somebody who doesn't receive the ball as much. But I love him and sincerely hope he stays next season, because he's got that bit of bite about him. I know he's still relatively a young lad, but he's got that like bit of bite to his game, and like he's one of those who he can hold himself well against like bigger midfielders, and he's got that like obviously that determination. And I mean, there was one last week where I think he lost the ball and he ran back and put a slide challenge in. I think it was on Gallagher or someone like that. He's won the ball, then he's got flies back up the field. And I think he's such a brilliant player. And like it says, sincerely hope he stays with us, because when Gibbs-White's on song, everybody else is on song kind of thing. And obviously skipping the side a few times, hasn't he, this season? And and he's got that real inspirational side to him. He like galvanizes everybody and everything. And I do like him. And I mean, Murillo deservingly got player of the season. I mean, he's been fantastic this season. such a young lad who's come from the other side of the world, only played for 13 or 14 games or whatever. Then he's thrusted into like the most brutal league in world football, and there's been an odd mistake there from Murillo, but it's expected when somebody's still relatively young and still learning his trade. And I think they really wanted him to score today. I mean, they gave him a free kick. There was that run he went on, and it's just a shame that he hasn't finished the season with a goal. But yeah, he's an unbelievable talent, is Murillo.
Yeah, I was going to mention that run to you as well, where he skips past a few players, gets into the box, shoots low and wide, and then the free kick as well. He forces a save from Juric from a sort of free kick routine. If anybody deserves a goal this season, it is Murillo for all of the 70-yard efforts he's tried, and the one at Palace as well, which was so close, where he danced through 3 or 4 players and then forced a save from the keeper. I think every Forest fan was willing him to score today. It just didn't quite come off for him. But yeah, he's had a fantastic first season. Probably an unexpected first season. I think when he came in, nobody expected him to become such an important player like he has. But he's delivered so much in what, 7 or 8 months of football.
Yeah, and he's still obviously got age on his side, so he's only going to improve. And I sincerely hope, along with Gibbs White, it's with us. But if one of them does go, it'd be an absolute shame. But it's probably where you are in the food chain kind of thing. And I'm like hoping that we don't need to sell with Johnson obviously being on this year's accounts, and Mangala potentially going to Leon or wherever, and then obviously getting some of the deadwood out. Hopefully it will save us a few bob here and there, but yeah, we have to wait and see, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of speculation from now until the end of August when the transfer window closes.
Burnley got a goal back on 72 minutes. It was a shot from Josh Cullen, which was deflected off Murillo, funnily enough. And not a lot that Murillo could have done, not a lot that Sells could have done, just an unlucky goal, really, from Forest's point of view. But it didn't dampen spirits, and it wasn't too damaging from Forest's point of view, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was kind of... I know they had a lot of the ball and everything, but that's probably the only way Burnley were going to score, with like taking a flick off somebody and wrong footing our goalkeeper, which happened kind of thing. But yeah, if they had a decent striker, we might have been hurt today. Yeah, but like I said earlier, they play some decent football and more possession based compared to the cut and thrust of Sean Dyche Burnley a few years ago. But yeah, it didn't hurt us, and we was carrying on singing and chucking the inflatables around for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and Forest celebrating safety and doing it in style as well with a win. And a good way to round off what has been a very disappointing season, and a difficult one as well. But also getting back-to-back away wins is a nice way to round off the season also, because Forest's away form has really struggled, much like it did last season. But to get those back-to-back away wins and round off the season on a positive note like that, I think it's just a nice way to cap things off, because it has been a difficult campaign.
Yeah, I feel spoilt. The last 2 weeks I've gone to Sheffield United and Burnley and seen us come away with 6 points. And last season it was only one away winner down at Southampton. And this season we've done better on the road. And I mean, I know he has his critics, but under Nuno, we do look more of an established Premier League side. There's some obviously areas what need obviously polishing kind of thing, but we do seem a lot more like compact. We're not like defending for our lives kind of thing on our own goal line kind of thing. There's quite expensive play at times, and we just need to get more consistent, because this season we have played some really nice football. There's a couple of times in previous weeks where we've knocked the ball around one touch and everything, got out of tight situations and managed to get up the field with the likes of Alanga, Danilo, Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs White. So yeah, consistently we need to be a lot better next season, and hopefully get a few more players in of a decent quality, and obviously have that strength and depth which can come off the bench and obviously change matters if we're struggling. Because in the last year or so, compared to what the bench was like against Newcastle on the day of last season, compared to now. We're slowly getting there, but it's going to take us a few windows of obviously getting the dead wood out and obviously replenishing the side with a bit of quality, etc.
We'll pick up a little bit more on that later on. Let's now hear the view from the opposition. It's over to Joe from Turfcast.
Hello everyone, Joe Redman here from Burnley podcast and YouTube channel Turfcast, just giving my thoughts after today's game at Turf Moor. Obviously 2-1 win for you guys, no complaints really on the balance of play. I did think you guys were the better side, especially in that first half. I think in the first half we were absolutely dreadful, if I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that we had about 75% possession and did absolutely nothing with it. I mean, you guys will look at that and think, oh, well, you know, we contained you well, we defended well. I mean, you could look at it from your point of view and say that, yeah, but it's just been the absolute story of our season. All the ball, no idea what to do with it because we just don't have enough quality. And it was exactly the same today, especially in that first half. Second half, I thought we played a lot better. We moved the ball quicker. We passed it round well. We created some all right chances. There's nothing that I look at, though, from our point of view and think, yeah, clear cut, we should have scored that. There was a few chances where we should have done better with. The Amdouni one in the first half and a few in the second. But overall, there's no clear-cut chances that we've carved out where you're like, yeah, Burnley should have equalised, it should have been 2-2. So I think on the balance of play, I can only really look at that and think, yeah, a Forest win's probably a fair result. It's a shame for us, obviously it's got to be Chris Wood, but nice to see him clap as he left. He did celebrate against us, but it's a modern thing, isn't it, these days? You very rarely see players that don't celebrate. Although I suspect if Ashley Barnes scores against us next year in the Championship, we might see something a little bit different. But I've got no issues with it. And it was good to see that the fans clapped him off as he left it, and he clapped us as well. He's getting married in the summer. I wish him well, and I wish Forest well as well. I thought the Forest fans were pretty good today. Bit of a party atmosphere, though, to be fair, so it'd be a bit of a shame if it wasn't. Quite loud. The only times you went quiet really were when we scored, and that were only for about 10 minutes. But other than that, yeah, I thought Forest fans were pretty well today, pretty good, sorry. And in that first half, yeah, I think because of that first half, I have no qualms with the result. But thanks for asking me on the show, lads, and good luck next season.
The 1865 Match Report.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Like all of our podcasts this season, this episode of 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast, is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game. Make Green King your go-to destination for the season's final stretch. With 900 sports pubs dotted around the UK, chances are you're within walking distance of your local Green King. Let's be honest, watching football is way better with friends and family, so get the squad together for every televised fixture in an atmosphere worth sharing. Don't forget to download the Green King Sport app to enjoy exclusive competitions and discounts whenever there's a game on. Now it's back to your podcast.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
So, Tom, coming back to Murillo then. So he was named this week as Forest's Player of the Season. After the game at Turf Moor, he was also handed the Player of the Season trophy in front of the away end. A nice moment for him in his first season in England. Nice way for him to finish his first season at Forest also. For me, it was really a toss-up between him and Morgan Gibbs-White. You could have given it to either of them, that award. Both of them have been so key to Forest's survival this season, played big parts in it. But from Murillo's point of view, could that potentially have been his last game in a Forest shirt today?
I hope not. I really hope not, because like I said, he is a really talented kid, isn't he? And like I said earlier, he's only going to get better and better. But we all know money talks in this game, doesn't it? I mean, I think Forest value him a lot more than what we got for Johnson. And it's up to somebody to obviously stump the money up. And I can't see him going anywhere in this country. The only two teams in my eyes who will pay that money is Manchester City or like an Arsenal or something. I don't think he's in the mould of being a Man United with all the things what are going on there. So it's either I go to Man City or or Arsenal, or he will go to mainland Europe. But then Real Madrid, people are saying he's going. I don't know if he's at Real Madrid's level, but they're getting that Endrick and they're getting Mbappe and probably getting a couple of others, and they're still in the realms of profit and sustainability like the rest of us. Obviously, they can probably make bigger losses because it's Real Madrid and all of that. And Barcelona, they've got money problems, haven't they? So apart from PSG, but it's all about stumping up the money. And the same with Gibbs White. Forest will have a value on those players, and if a team doesn't stump up the money, they're possibly not going anywhere because we're not going to sell them on the cheap. We don't really want to dismantle the makings of a squad what might do a bit better next year in terms of being higher up the league and not being in this relegation battle. But yeah, hopefully we can recruit sensibly this summer. I mean, Johnson is going to be on this year's accounts, isn't he? But I know we did spend a lot of money on Sangari, and so it swings and roundabouts. But I think there's going to be a lot of speculation now until August, and I just hope they both stay because they're the two players who you want to build a side around. And I've mentioned on the pod before, I don't agree with the profit and sustainability rules kind of thing because I think it's just like a applaud to keep this top six to be the top six kind of thing, and nobody can break into that. And I think the rules stop capitalism in football, or especially in the Premier League, where if you've got an owner who's willing to put money in, then he should be allowed to. If he's takes the debt on himself rather than the club. But obviously, rules are there for a reason, and we've already broken the rules, haven't we? Hence the 4 points deduction we've got. So yeah, we need to be clever in the recruitment this year, which in the last year we haven't been bad with the players what we've brought in. I mean, there's only the two goalkeepers in Origi and who have not been great, have they? But yeah, a bit clever recruitment this summer, and we might be all right because obviously the three teams coming up, they're going to be
stronger, aren't they? This time they're going to put more of a fight than the three that came up this year.
Yeah. So you'd think so. So it's just a matter of making sure we get our recruitment right and making sure we're above them, kind of thing. Because I know Marinakis has got aspirations of European football in the next few years, but obviously you got to do it bit by bit. And we've closed this season, wasn't we, in terms of the mess what we got into, and we got off because obviously there's been three worse sides than us. But I mean, if there weren't three worse sides, we would have gone down, obviously. So yeah, we'll just need to get things right this summer and really plan properly.
And what about the job that Nuno's done then? You could argue that from his point of view, he's achieved what he wanted to. Forrester's safe. They've survived. And that's job done for him this season. But how do you think he's done overall since coming into Forest and reflecting on his first couple of months in charge?
First and foremost, he's done the job what he's come in to do. I mean, I don't feel he's in the relegation race under when Steve Cooper got the sack after the Spurs game before Christmas. But we love Steve Cooper and we'll never forget what he did for us and all of that. But I think his race was run. If you look back, there was that Everton game and it was just rinse and recycle all the time, wasn't it, in that period? And then obviously we got panned at down at Fulham and 1 win in 13. You couldn't see anything from that he was going to get it right. Nuno's come in and he started off really well. I mean, he was unfortunate in his first game against Bournemouth when Bolly was wrongly sent off. And then you got those two good wins over Christmas against Newcastle and Man United. And then obviously there's been some questionable decision making and team selections and all of that. And obviously he's had to contend with the 4 points deduction. And obviously he's had to contend with VAR decisions not going our way and all of that. So yeah, first and foremost, it's job done for him, what he come in for. I think we've looked a bit more of a Premier League side under him. I mean, there's some games in there which weren't easy on the eye, but yeah, Forest look like they can compete a bit better now rather than that low block where it was kind of like every man for himself kind of thing and defending really deeply. So, I think Nuno said on Radio Nottingham, didn't he, that he'll have a couple of days rest and the planning starts for next season. And I think he wants a tighter squad. So, and all of that. And if you get a bit of quality in there and obviously if he stays consistent and doesn't have too many injuries, I think we'll be okay next season again. But obviously there's got to be a lot of things to get right. Looking back on the season as a whole and looking a little bit into next year as well, how are you feeling, reflecting on the campaign just gone and where Forest are at the moment? It's been an absolute slog. It's been awful this season. Obviously, we've been more bothered about what happens in courtrooms than on the football pitch. And then obviously on top of that, we've had the VAR controversy, which has just been absolutely laughable at times. And so I think Forest are gradually getting there. They've really mixed it against the big teams. And apart from the Fulham game, we haven't really got absolutely battered this season. We haven't really been opened up. A lot of the goals, what we've conceded, have been stupid mistakes. And obviously, we had the jeopardy of the two goalkeepers who have not been up to scratch. And we was on about it today before the match. It just makes you wonder if we had Sells in for the whole season, where would we be? Because he's been a bit of a calming influence. It's like, there's nothing worse than having a goalkeeper behind you and you're thinking, well, I'm not 100% confident in him. What's he going to come for? I don't give the ball back to him. But Sells is like, for £5 million, it's an absolute snip, and he's going to be Belgium's number one at the Euros this year. And his distribution and obviously all-round goalkeeping, it's been an absolute massive upgrade on Odysseus and Matt Turner. So that's a positive. So, we just need to keep certain players fit, don't we? I mean, Owoni's been very much stop, start. And I don't think you can put your hat on him to be like your number one striker, even though when he is fit, it's brilliant. But him being fit and on a consistent basis is like very much right in between, isn't it? Yeah. So, and obviously Wood's getting a bit older now. I think he's like, 32, 33. So, he's done brilliantly though this season. 15 goals he's more than repaid that fee that was, I think, 15 million actually when we signed him. I know there were a lot of question marks at the time, but in time he's proven himself to be a worthy addition to the squad. And fans have been saying, 15 million quid or whatever it is. It's a lot of money, that is. But his goals this season, I'm not 100% sure on this. I've heard it somewhere. I think it was Henry Winter on the Forest Focus podcast that, Forest haven't had the best season, but at the end of the day, their name is in the Premier League for next season. And just being on the starting grid next season, I think you get 120 million quid. And those goals have effectively given the club 120 million quid, because without those goals, and I mean, Owoni was out the side for a bit, wasn't he? And you like looking around and Divock Origi, no pun intended, but he hasn't pulled up any trees this season. He's been pretty toothless in front of goal. So it was nice that somebody stepped up and just thinking about it now is that Burnley would love a Chris Wood, because they haven't got that strike to finish off the chances what they create. So but it's one of those things in football. If you stay around long enough, things come around again, don't they? And I bet they're wishing that Chris Wood was on the end of a couple of chances, like I said today. But thankfully, he's our player, and his goals what obviously kept us in this league for next year. And that's it. Forest are staying in the Premier League, and in the end, they are 6 points clear of Luton and 15 goals clear of Luton, I think it was in the end. So Forest are staying up, and we've got another season of Premier League football to look forward to next year. Let's leave the match report there then. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to Joe from Turfcast for providing the opposition view. And thank you as well, listener, for being with us. We will be back later this week with our Friday 5 podcast. And beyond that as well, we will have our big pod roundup where we look back over the entire season and have a look back over Forest's campaign as a whole. Until then, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Social Podcast Network.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.